So it's not just following someone, like you hear the bell. In a certain sense, it seems like for the last round. So there's ding ding, all right, I've heard the call, I've heard the bell, and like something different is being asked of me. It's my calling. It is also following instead of leading, and that's a whole different quality too. Okay, so here, this is from Jesus in the Course in Miracles. God gave his teacher to replace the one you made, not to conflict with it. Well, see, I put this one up because I think like it's so beautiful to see how the disciples just followed him. They were not arguing. They were not like, well, is it really necessary that I come? Or they didn't have any doubts about it. They just did it. So that's so lovely as an example. And here's the same effect asked of you. It's like God gave his teacher to replace the one you made, not to conflict with it. And this is very important too, in the sense of following. You start to follow. You start to listen to the teacher, to this teacher. He's going to present you with something that you are actually looking for. And you had a recognition with that when you met him. That's why you don't need to be in conflict with him. So this is good. Nothing is ever lost but time, which is in the end totally meaningless. Like whether you hear the call and answer it immediately or wait a little bit longer, either way, it doesn't matter. Nothing is ever lost but time, which is in the end totally meaningless. Okay, so putting this back on this one, God gave his teacher to replace the one you made, not to conflict with it. So this is also good to see. So taking this one step at a time, apparently. So this is also good. You see, following is an active thing. Like the disciples with Jesus were active disciples. They were asking questions like, why are we doing this? I have no idea what's going on. Can you tell me something about it? And they did ask questions like that, like, and had their own experiences too, just like you have. Like you when they were asked to stay awake with Jesus, for instance, in the Garden of Gethsemane, they fell asleep. Like they drifted off into a daydream or whatever it was. Like, you see, that can happen. It is just what happens. Like everyone has his own experience in his awakening adventure, in his awakening process. That is really good to know too. So all this, if you allow that, say, to come to you in the way that you can deal with it, in a certain sense, that you can stay with it, then that's perfect. That's great. It takes away the pressure that you have to do this way, or it should be done that way, or you need to do at least that and that. Like, no, that's not how this works at all. You don't know how this works the best for you. So it's like that is going to be given too. Just follow. You said yes. You follow, and the rest will, say, reveal itself. The rest will be clear how that goes, and that's so great. Like once you start to have these light recognitions that you start to have right now too, is like suddenly you feel like there's something communicating so beautifully, and like I love to receive the light and love that is happening when we come together. It's like beautiful, say, gentle, beautiful vortex of light that is available, where I feel really good when I'm in there. Like it's really great to tap into that. You start to want to have more of that. But then also you see, like in your daily life, it can look like the conflict increases. Like things are not working out anymore. There needs some changes be made. And that can look totally different than you expect. Suddenly you do all the same things, but it's not working any longer. You have no idea what is next. So you can walk around a bit confused sometimes too, which is perfectly all right too. So, but then say staying with the practice as we do is like come together just to meditate or to be still and to say reconnect with this light in you is then so important just for you to come back to the recognition, oh yeah, wait a minute, there's nothing ever lost. Oh no, it's just only time is lost. Like, okay, I drifted off into something for a couple of hours or a couple of days or weeks or years, but now I'm back here. And I feel a yes more than ever. That's really great. So now the second part of this is then, and you see that in the PDF too, is in fact what is being presented here. Like what is being presented is unbelievable, in fact. Here's another expression. Think not the way to heaven's gate is difficult at all. We saw this in our meditation too. It's like there's a sounding. It's like we'll come back to that in a moment too, in the second expression, but think not the way to heaven's gate is difficult at all. So what we're doing in our transformational path on our way back home, so to speak, is walk this path and ending up just in front of heaven's gate. Then again, you have a choice to enter in or to stay, like to stay in front of it. Think not that the way to heaven's gate is difficult at all. Nothing you undertake with certain purpose and high resolve and happy confidence, holding your brother's hand and keeping step to heaven's song is difficult to do. Nothing you undertake with certain purpose and high resolve and happy confidence, holding your brother's hand and keeping step to heaven's song is difficult to do. I love this. I love this. So this is really beautiful. So we're talking about heaven's gate. So peace, right? Heaven, light, love, home. All these say terms are connected to an idea of you come to a certain place. That place is in you. You know this, like my kingdom is not of this world, it is within me. So all these expressions you know, but then now it's not just about recognizing that you know it or that you have heard of it and that you recognize it as a familiarity. And no, now it is like there's an opportunity to come to the gate of heaven, to enter into heaven, to have an experience of heaven, because like heaven is more like a state of mind with no conflict, with, you could say, like the perfect now moment, with not anything to do with time at all, not with the past, not with the future, completely free to blossom and to be itself. So this is what your teacher teaches. This is what you are being taught all the time. It's like every step that you take, you come closer to that, to the gate of heaven, to recognizing that you never left paradise, to see that nothing occurred, that all is forgiven, that you're still as God created you. Just like we looked at yesterday, it's like you are an effect of God. God is your cause, and He created you in His likeness, whole and perfect. So you are in heaven. You never left heaven. All this was just a nightmare of your own making. So this is in fact the whole teaching, and it's like you go through a story, you go through a detour into fear, quite a nightmare. We were good at that. We made something real for really true, a true illusion for ourselves where we really believed in. And now we're in the undoing of all of that. Ending up in the same place, seeing that all of this actually already is over and gone, and it is past, whatever we're talking about in occurrences in our life is already over. So you know that this whole scenario that you find yourself in is already over, and that you're home in heaven. In fact, you know that. It is like you want this to be an experience for yourself, but it is already so, because you never left. The tiny tick of time in which the first mistake was made, and all of them within that one mistake held also the correction for that one mistake, and all of them that came within the first. So what was the first mistake? How would it be to be separate from everything that is? That was the question. It's like you wanted an answer to that. It was a mistake. It was insanity to think these things. But you started to believe in it for just that one instant. But in that instant, it was corrected too. So it didn't even happen, really. It's like it didn't even it didn't even happen, and see what you made of it. So, and that's all right. So that's okay too. In the tiny tick of time in which the first mistake was made, and all of them within that one mistake held also the correction for that one, and all of them that came within the first. So the correction already took place, like literally like nothing occurred. And so then you say like, okay, so then how difficult can it be to be in heaven if this is already corrected? Well, this is really the undoing that you're in. It's like if you see that nothing occurred in an instant, then you find yourself in heaven. Then you're free of this self-imposed limitation. All right, so here's Matthew 19. This is also a great story. The young man said to him, all these things I have kept from my youth. Like I did everything that I was supposed to do to become a good Christian, so to speak. What do I still lack? He asked Jesus. And Jesus said to him, well, if you want to be perfect, go sell what you have and give it to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. And come and follow me. So this was the one that didn't really follow him in the end, and because here, look what happened. But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. He was a rich young man, rich in the sense of earthly investments, earthly possessions, and say deeply invested in humanhood. In fact, even though he prayed 5 times a day, he did his Bible study, and he knew all the verses from the Psalm out of his heart. He did everything he could. But then you see that had nothing to do with it in the end. So here's one expression that I love to share too. So the requirement where we come to is this: give everything away and come on home. Give everything away. Don't hold on to anything. Don't hold on to anything and come home. All right, are you still with me? I know I'm talking to myself, but are you still with me? Yes, good, great, awesome. So these are things like, this is pretty amazing. So you come to the one that you heard the call of, And in fact, he's going to ask you to give everything away and to follow. Like literally that's being asked. And it takes a moment for you to recognize that nothing is ever lost. Because in your giving it away and giving all to all, you cannot lose at all. So it takes a moment to say uncondition from the idea that there will be nothing lost. And that's a process. That's a process. You just don't know how that's going to look for you. And so maybe if you still want to be interactive and play a little bit, it's like draw one thing that you will miss, that you think you will miss the most. I love all these aspects to take a look at, and also to bring it really into your experience. It's like, oh yeah, let's be aware that this is occurring. So you're being asked to follow. You recognize the call. You're actually on this path. You signed up for 40 days, for instance. You dedicate yourself to your meditation. You do whatever you can to come to a deeper experience of the trueness of yourself. And along that, with I love the expressions like staying in the step of the song of heaven, keeping up with the rhythm of the song of heaven, and happily inspired and completely dedicated to go for it. It's like, here we are. We're actually doing it. We're actually doing that. Amazing. Wonderful. So thank you so much for your dedication and for doing this. And it's like, great, returning home. How great that is. Whatever you think or that you're afraid of to lose, it will be different anyway. So you can't really you cannot really prophesize. You don't know what is going to happen, and that's perfectly all right. So you will see that every aspect of it is part of the plan, so to speak, for your salvation. But every aspect of it is so well chosen, and it fits so well together for your undoing of that part of you that isn't, that you might still carry around for some reason, which is perfectly all right. It's like there's no rush. Like overall seen, there's no such thing as time. So it seems like there's a delay in time if you seem to postpone some ideas. Like that's all right too. In eternity, there's no time. So you can never be too late. But at the same time, you don't want to hang out in a setup, in a setting, literally, where you feel the pain of separation or of limitation, while you know there's something else where that is not. All right, well, thank you so much for your presence and participation, and absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much.